Well, you're still watching the Sports Dish. We come your way every Monday to Friday and we discuss what's making rounds in the world of sports. The numbers at the bottom of your screen, you can use it to send us all your messages, questions and views. And one person actually wants to see Lukunyomoy. Yes, our producer is working around the corner to see that they get you the image. Of course, he started training today. We are yet to get the footage, but there are a few pictures out there. And I'm sure you'll look at him and probably get to see how he looks like. But away from that, somewhere in Tunisia, Ndejje Elites, the National Volleyball League champions in Uganda for the women, did play their last group game yesterday against KCB. Unfortunately, they did lose that game 3-0, or you could say in straight sets, and they finished third in their group. Now, there's been a bit of mix-up because the groups are four. We thought the top two get to qualify for the quarterfinals, and every time the head coach Ronald Chitosi kept on talking about round of 16, it didn't make sense. And yes, Emanzi earlier alone tried to clarify and said all the 16 teams have actually qualified for the round of 16. And in the round of 16, Uganda will be playing against a pipeline. Talking about jumping from the frying pan into fire, from one Kenyan team to another. But Emanzi did catch up with the captain of Ndejje Elites, Ndejje, who tried to put in perspective their campaign so far in Tunisia.
Which we played really well. I can say maybe we lost concentration because when you look at the way we played that set, we couldn't receive. Everyone was like, you should have received that ball because it is on your side, because it is like this. So I think it was just lack of concentration, and we had to call ourselves up, though even the third set, it wasn't that good, though we reached 16 points, but it wasn't as good as the first set.
And what does that kind of loss mean to you guys? Your third game of the group, what does it mean going?
Well, Belinda, they are trying to put a few things in perspective. For more of what she had to say, of course, later on in the PM edition, we'll carry that story comprehensively, Shaban. But she talks about a bit of failure to coordinate on court and all that.
I think they had a decent first set, despite the fact that they lost. I think it was 25-22, and then everything nothing could fall in place in terms of reception in the second set, where they managed only 10 points, and I think that is where they lost it. Definitely, KCB a better side than Ndejje Elites, and you would have thought going into the game that they stand little chances of winning, but after that first set, I think they gave themselves hope and then kicked themselves in the foot in the second set, and from there we all knew that they were going to be beaten 3-0 because they were arguing on court, like she mentioned, and when you looked at the way they were receiving the ball, it was horrendous. I think arguably their worst set at the championships this campaign, but hopefully they can bounce back against another side that is better than them.
Yep.
But having played against Kenyans, probably the experience of playing against them can help them in the next game. But it's going to be difficult.
They also know it.
No chance.
Yes, they also know it, but of course they'll try to go out there and give their best. And yes, Emanzi also talked to us, trying to tell us about Ndejje's journey so far, but he also talks about the tournament in general, what makes the other teams tick at the expense of Uganda, and these were his reactions.
Ndejje Elites go tomorrow. They will be playing against the Kenya Pipeline, that is after finishing third in the group stages. They lost yesterday's game to another Kenyan side, KCB. That was 3-0. After a very good contest in the first set, which ended 22-25 in favor of the Kenyans. Ndejje had competed well, they were serving well, they were receiving the ball, but they totally collapsed in the second set. And at one point, one player, Sharon Chepchumba, the opposite from the Kenyan national team, managed to score 15 straight points, and before she was gotten out of the service box, and that is totally unacceptable for Ndejje. They could not go on to win the game, and now they have to play Kenya Pipeline. It was a case of whether to play Pipeline or Al Ahly, and you would say that in terms of choosing poison, this time they chose Kenya Pipeline, and the game will be played tomorrow. They will have to do better on the reception. They have to improve, because if you do not receive the ball, you definitely cannot function on offense. You're not going to have the good first pass to the setter to run your offense. So those are the challenges that they had, and today is rest day. They have the opportunity to correct some mistakes that they made, and then go into the game tomorrow, hoping that they can progress from the round of 16 to the final 8, because after that then you go into classification games. If they cannot beat Kenya Pipeline, they would have to now start looking at fighting for positions. Their target was to finish among the top 8, and tomorrow will be the day to see whether they actually get past the round of 16 to go to the final 8.
Well, Emanzi, they are seated like the owner of the building behind him. But yeah, but he tries to put some things in perspective. I mean, it is unacceptable for a player to go into the service box and you score 15 consecutive points.
It's not something that happens every day, but that tells you the quality that probably the player possesses. But then he makes a very good point. You are clearly saying that they stand no chance against Pipelines. Yes, it's going to be very hard. And off a sort of game they had, especially in that second set, maybe they don't go into it with lots of confidence. But I will try and be patriotic this time round. I will hope. I will just hope. No, I'm not saying they are going to achieve, but I'm hoping they can pull off an upset.
Shaban, they also know it. That we are going to go, we are going to try and give our best, but
definitely our best is not going to be good enough.
They know it. Because Pipeline, okay, teams from Kenya, Pipeline in particular, and probably Kenya Prisons, who have not come for this championship, outside the Arab teams, these are teams that know a thing or two about winning this championship. Actually, Pipelines, I think, were the record holders of this championship before Al Ahly took over as the record holders in the women's category. So if you have a team like that has won this championship before, they have gone so many years without winning it, they definitely feel they have an opportunity to win it again, and you're Ndejje standing in their way. There are so many factors, but also the fact that they are better volleyball players. Pipeline or teams from Kenya have better volleyball players compared to Uganda. You call it an upset, but that upset can only happen probably in form of a walkover or something like that, but not on court. But of course, that game will be played tomorrow, and we'll continue to follow it closely and see how far this Kenya elite, rather Ndejje Elites team can go. In Europe, news that broke yesterday night, or should we say today morning, Chelsea Football Club finally have a buyer. The UK government has approved a consortium that is led by Todd Bowley, who is a co-owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, the team that plays in the National Baseball League in the USA. That's the Major League Baseball. The Major League Baseball. The consortium that he is leading has actually been approved by the UK government to take over Chelsea Football Club in a deal that is worth 4.2 billion pounds.